Hello there, welcome back. Today I'm going to do a video called The Curious Case of David Fincher. Now this is inspired by a Solitary Ronin video about we're doing a director series in a category called Solid Technicians, which is directors who make good films but don't make great films. And I thought David Fincher's kind of the epitome of this, for me at least. So I thought it'd be interesting to talk about him. So, not to Solitary Ronin for his series. Fincher is a weird case because he's a very technically good director who I think is very light on the writing. I think he's got a lot of instincts, he's got a lot of visual instincts, a lot of thematic instincts he wants to explore. But he seems to get impressed by mediocre writing, in my experience, or very garish writing. And every so often he gets beyond the writing and does something really good, or he gets lucky and gets a good script that can focus him. But a lot of the time it becomes a bit pretentious and it's overlong, and it relies on his style to get through sort of bits that are a bit tacky. So there's a lot of films, but there's very few films I really love from Fincher. It's just like one of those things that there's an emotional distance with him that I think is somewhat due to him not being that good with writers and material. I mean, Tim Burton's not good with writers' material either, but he can move beyond the barrier and be emotional with the things, and he can be weirder with it and it'll get through. I think with David Fincher it's like that distance stays up always, and it just becomes a barrier to entry for me at least. So I mean, there are certain films I really like he's made, but I think all of them have major flaws. I mean, the films I really like of his are Alien 3, the longer version, Fight Club, and Social Network. There are other films I enjoy as well, but those are the three I think are my favourites of the films he's made. I mean, Alien 3 he disowned. It was a disastrous production. The script is a bit of a mess, but the whole idea of these people being in hell, basically trying to survive hell with this alien killing them off, and they're in this hellish prison, there's no escape, they're gonna die. Even though they've had the script problems, the whole setup and the way it's filmed and visualization, especially in the longer version where you see a lot more things where they capture the alien and the alien is let free. Even though the ending setup is very repetitive, there's some beautiful scenes in it, like Newt's and Hicks's when their bodies are dropped into the flames. Beautiful. The ending with Ripley dying is beautiful. Anything to do with, anything to do with fire or heat just looks beautiful. A lot of the characters look the same but slightly different because all actors shaved heads and everything else. It creates a distinctive feeling of lacking. It's monk-like, but there's also criminals, and it's a mix between, it's like angels and hell type of thing. Like, some of them have angelic aspirations, but they're also dragged down by their human desires and human frailties. And all of this stuff really comes through. So even though the scripts collapse, and Fincher seems to be able to do a lot with it. And when I saw that, even when I saw it in the shorter version, I thought, well, here's a guy to watch. There's obviously something interesting on this guy. Even though it was a bit clunky, because the theatrical version is clunky. There's no around it, it's clunky as hell. But the longer version is a lot better. Then there's Fight Club, which has a clunky final act, but as I explained in my video about violent satires, there's a lot going on in it, and it's about how people go from dissatisfaction to fundamentalism and the craziness involved and weird psychology involved. Yeah, didn't need the twist where it turns out that Edward Norton and Brad Pitt are the same guy and one's a projection of the other. That wasn't needed. It's a fun twist to show how people can miss what's so obvious to everyone else and how people can interact in their own mind. But it's a gimmicky twist which I don't think comes across. I think the book paid it off better than the film did. I think the film, it comes across as a twist that's doesn't have the emotional punch it should have because of a distance. But everything else is really good in the film, but this a film that's 20 minutes too long. It needed to just slice out the fat a little bit because it was really getting there, and it just felt like there's certain times you're just repeating yourself and repeating yourself. You're telling someone the point, and then you're labouring the point to make sure you've got the emotion of the point. It's like, okay, I've got it, we can move on now. Not for another 5 minutes of this. And that happens a lot in this film. And it just feels like this could just be shorter. It needs, and I think if it was shorter, the twist would have had more impact because it would have felt faster and it felt much more like you get an idea of why he didn't know, but it sticks around so long that you wonder why he hasn't figured it out himself. You know. But still a wonderful film. It's still a film I really enjoy. I can criticise, but I really like it. And Social Network is probably the best received of these three films I really like of his. That it would get great reviews, it get Oscar nominations. All the actors are good in it. It's all about the setting on Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg and all that. It's really well made, but it's a bit polite. You kind of get the feel there was more to it than we were seeing. The psychology was a bit more twisted behind the scenes than you're seeing, and it's very lawyered up because no one wants to get sued. But still a wonderful film. It just feels like there's a better film, a better angrier film in there waiting to get out. Much of angry is the right word. There's a film with a few more nuances, that a few bits of weirdness that would have made it much better. Like, what's Facebook really doing? Zuckerberg feels like this is as far as we can go with him without getting sued. Like, they have to suggest stuff but it's character rather than what Facebook could possibly be doing. It just feels like there's a point missed somewhere down the line, but still a really well made film. It's just a bit glib, and there's the final point feels a bit like how the Zuckerberg character in this film is separated, even though he made a social media thing. Empire's very isolated. That feels very rote and very tacked on, and it's not as complicated as life really is. And I think that's the problem with the film, is it needed to have another draft of smashing through a few of these easy perceptions. So those are the best ones. But even from there you can see that I'm suggesting he's not good with writers. As I've said from the beginning of this, there's writing problems that go through his films that are never solved. And even there's films like The Game or The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which are both fun films. They are undone, again they're undone by being too long. You just feel like you're thinking, I can figure this out already, and you're dragging it on. Like, The Game's probably one of his more fun films because it actually has evolved to actually deliver on a twist. The twist actually is what you're thinking, what have they got to do this? Where the idea is the game, it's not a conspiracy, it is a game, which is a fun twist, but the film before that wasn't balanced enough. It became too grim. It was meant to be the idea of someone learning to live again by adversity and by finding what they've got, by losing to lose everything. And that was a really good idea, but it was too long. It just felt it was dragging on too long. It felt like the setup's perfect, and then when you get to the game sections, it just runs on and runs on and runs on. You need to lose little bits just to have the twist deliver, and it just dragged on. Which means I'd probably watch it more than I'd do if it was 20 minutes shorter, because I feel like I'm watching like the first cut or something rather than the final cut. Which is the problem I have with Fincher films generally, is I also think I'm not watching the final cut. It's they've released a cut that's been done but it's not finished. Girl with Dragon Tattoo is the same thing. It feels like there's lots of good moments in it, but it drags on too long, it's off point too much, and it's a bit too impressed by the serial killer mechanics. Like it's got to be a torture room for the sake of having to be a torture room rather than having it tied to the psychology of the killer. The killer doesn't feel linked to what the visual sense is. So it just feels like you're just distracted and you're just falling back towards, oh, this is a cliche. Even though it's an enjoyable film, there's good characters in it, it's still a cliche. Then, now we've got down to the other films, which are, there's Gone Girl, which is actually, I've only seen it once, and it's one I'm not talking about much because I've only seen it once, and it's, I enjoyed it, but it felt kind of gimmicky. But it did feel faster than the other film, it didn't feel as, flabby as some of the other films. But it did feel a bit obvious, like the end felt kind of well tracked before you got to it. It felt like we knew where it was going towards before the end came. But it had really fun performances, so it was enjoyable. But the reason I haven't seen it again is I've never the urge to see it again. It just doesn't feel like I need to see it again. It feels kind of lightweight. And Panic Room's the same, it's very lightweight. There's no real themes in that one. It's just a chase movie through a house, get in and out of a panic room. It's an enjoyable setup, it's an enjoyable B-movie, that's all it is. It's not too long, but the end does still seem to go on forever. It's like, the end's like 10 minutes shorter and it just feels like it gets sentimental and flabby and just... It needed some more bite towards the end. And even then it wasn't substantial enough to really get you. There was no reason for being, and any subtextual things were so underdeveloped that there was nothing really there to drag you back to it. It just felt like it's everything it says in the tin, but also the weird nuances you'd get in a John Carpenter film, the character moments that would get you going back and back and back just weren't there. It's just these characters looking cool in this perfectly framed shot, but there's no human touch to it. I mean, Jodie Foster does her best, but it's still a very cold film, and it's like, why would I not go back to it? Because I'd rather go back and watch Escape from New York, which has way more humanity in it than Panic Room, even though it's set in a criminal city. That's Fincher's nihilism really drags it down sometimes. And then there's something like Benjamin Button, where it's going on forever. There's meant to be a heartwarming story about a guy who's living backwards, and his love story about a woman who's living normal time going forwards. It should have been good. I liked it more than most, but I haven't ever jumped back to watch it again because it's too long, and it just feels so long. It feels like I've got the point. This is a 90-minute film and a 2.5-hour film. It's just like, why am I watching this film for so long? Why does it take so much of my time? Like, points that which needed to be done in a few, like Michael Pell could do in a few minutes, it takes half an hour in this film. The Michael Pell version of Curious Case of Benjamin Button would have been like 90 minutes long, would have been a lot better. This thing just feels like there's no... Everything's extended, everything's spelled out to the most tedious level, and it's like, it doesn't give the character interactions a chance to breathe. It just feels flabby, and again, all these films, there's a sense of the scripts have just been left. Like, here are the scripts, we're not going to explore them, we're not going to... It's almost like Dave Fincher's nervous about scripts. Like, he's nervous, he's not a writer, and he doesn't have the authority to say, no, that's wrong, or to push the writers in some directions. Then again, maybe he knows his limitations, because you see something about the Scott pushing writers in certain directions, and it turns out it's the most tedious directions. I don't know, maybe it's just he knows what his flaws are, and he's a bit skittish about it, I don't know, but it is a problem. Like, the scripts always feel unfinished. I mean, Clint Eastwood has a reputation for not good enough rewrites of scripts, but compared to Fincher, his scripts seem to be a lot more on point. And then we get to the film that kind of... oh yeah, there's Zodiac as well. Zodiac's another one that's good, but it's an Obsession. It's meant to be a great film, but a lot of people say it's a great film. I enjoyed it, but it feels like, yeah, I can watch Manhunter and it tells you the same stuff in half the time, which is also an obsession, the danger of obsession, the creepiness of serial killers, and that does so much more in less time. And there's more defined characters, because Zodiac did not have defined characters. Of these vague people wandering through the halls looking for something that they don't find, and it doesn't feel like you're watching characters who are well developed. It just feels like characters are developed in weird blocks of what's assumed to be character based, but it's really cliche based. This is this cliche, that's this cliche. We've got them enough dialogue, we've had enough good actors to give them some semblance of life, but they still feel like mannequins. Well, to me, they feel like mannequins going through the motions. They don't feel like people who are under duress, who are scared of something. They just feel like, it doesn't feel paranoid, it just feels like very rote. And that's just a problem I've got with David Fincher generally. Finally, we've got Seven, which is the most pretentious movie ever made. It really is bad for pretensions. I mean, it's well made, David Fincher shoots it really well. I mean, all the lighting and stuff is beautiful. But it is pretentious. It goes on and on about all these weird clues about this really clever serial killer who just feels like a pretentious Dr. Phibes. It feels like a Vincent Price movie that's had tons of art design and lots of money spent on it, even though it was a low budget film. But it still feels like a 70s Vincent Price movie made really gloomy. It doesn't feel there's any depth to it. All the atrocity of the serial killer don't feel atrocity, they feel like gimmicks. Like, we'll starve someone to death. We'll make someone eat themselves to death. That's basically theatre of blood. You know, that's all it is. It's just gruesome for the sake of being gruesome. There's no point. The ending might be a great twist, but essentially the Brad Pitt character's kind of a dick for most of it. You don't really feel the twist that much. It's like, why? It's just a gimmicky twist. It's not a... There's nothing to the twist. It's a twist for the sake of having a twist, but it's not a twist that has legs. It doesn't really have a deep emotional impact. It's got an emotional impact of, oh god, what happened? But then we've seen it once, there's no layers to go round and round again through this film and find more layers to it and see there's more depth to it. There's no depth to it, it's just a gimmicky, it's just theatre of blood done very pretentiously. And it was the first time, after Alien 3, it was the first time I thought, everyone seems to love this film, this is one I've really doubts about. And from then on, Fincher seems to be doing the same pretentious, overlong film that needs better writing. So it's a curious case of a soft ignition who just needs better writers, just needs to do better scripts. It's just very frustrating because there's always bits in this films I like, but there's also the thing is, where's the writing in this? Where's the precision? It's just not there. It just feels like it's just like bits of things put together, and the actors are shot and shot and shot repeatedly. But instead of what Kubrick did, he would shoot them a lot and get all the neuroses and the weirdness of the actor. And this one, they just seem to be flattened out and not be that interesting. I mean, every so often you get an actor like Edward Norton come in who's a lot of energy that really propels Fight Club. But most of the time, I mean, when you watch with Brad Pitt as the lead, there's a kind of monotony to it that just give this thing a bit more get up and go. He seems to like a lot of actors who are very kind of low energy, and that creates low energy films. One of the reasons I thought Gone Girl kind of worked was I think Ben Affleck gave it some energy that another actor might not have, but he really seems to have a weakness for actors who are low energy. And since he's kind of a low energy director in lots of ways and likes very static shots, it can become a painful experience to watch sometimes. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Sorry to be so negative, but I felt like it's not I've been thinking about for a while. What's my problem with David Fincher? My problem is scripts. You just need scripts, and if you could cheer up a little bit, it would help too. You know, not everything's gloom. I mean, life's complicated. It's not all good and all bad. It's complicated. It's grey, and you need to find the grey and find the nuance and find the humanity within a complicated world instead of just saying it's all gloomy, it's all nihilistic. And it just becomes very tedious and again very bloated. That whole attitude of everything's dark is very bloated. And making things go slow is very bloated. It just feels like I don't have the energy to actually have any hope. And it's like, really, shouldn't you have grown out of that at some point? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I'll speak to you soon.